Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. So the atmosphere in the world right now, if you look at the weather, we're in a drought and we're hoping to get rain. Our forest is very dry and we just hope that it doesn't burn. But we notice there are many fires, lots of fires everywhere, and these fires are causing much destruction and distress. But the fire that really is the most distressing of all is the one burning within us. We might not be aware of this fire because the way we're conditioned as human beings is to pay attention. We have our 5 sense doors and thoughts, and the world is in front of us, visually, audio way, smelling, tasting, touching, feeling it all. So these are the things that attract our attention. And our search for happiness tends to rely on what the sense doors are telling us. Good, not so good, in terms of flavors. And if we look closely, the flavor of the day is burning. There's this burning in the heart, the burning sense of wanting the moment to be comfortable, to be pleasant, to be happy. So there is already a bit of fire burning within us. And the fire in the world, the forest fires, they need flame retardant. What is the retardant? Retard means to delay, to lessen the impact. And what do we do to lessen the impact of our suffering? Are we suffering? So, anybody not suffering? Everybody's suffering. Where's the flame retardant? So, the other day in our little Perth market, people walking around eating, kids are being given treats, the dogs are being given treats. There's a lot of eating going on. But I also was pondering, why are we so full of sense exaggeration? Looking for happiness through eating or entertainment, and really no mindfulness there. So we've got an apple tree that's littered with apples on the ground, and the deer keep coming and eating, but I never see a fat deer. Even though there's so many apples now. And they're very gracious when they come. It's really beautiful to watch. But I don't think that they're mindful. They're just deer. They're precious and they're deer, but they're also just deer. But as humans, to see humans walking around eating without really paying attention to what's going in, just mindlessly eating and walking and looking at all the sights. But the deer, when they have enough, they gracefully walk away back into the forest. And we don't have that balance. So what is the difference? We do have the ability to be mindful. As monastics, we're encouraged to eat sitting down, drink sitting down. But the practice of being in the present moment requires us to eat with mindfulness, so then we don't walk around. The Buddha teaches mindfulness as a way of bringing attention to the present moment. And it's a very important practice. So if we can just pay attention to being in the present moment, we would be able to not rely so much on sense stimulation for our peace and happiness, because we would be present for our experience. And present moment awareness is a real conduit to happiness. To graze in the field of mindfulness is to graze in the field of enlightenment, really. It's the field of waking up. And it's ripe with fruit for us to graze on. Because the 5 sense doors give us enough food, enough stimulation for us to pay attention to. When the deer are eating, that's all they're doing. They're not running around chasing each other, they're just eating, and then they go and do the rest. If we could just stop and just eat, maybe we wouldn't eat too much. The diseases that we are suffering from in the body are not just physical diseases, but they're also a disease of the mind. It may not be classified as a disease, but it's a dis-ease. We're not at peace, so we keep eating to fulfill the hunger. The suffering is just a dis-ease with present moment awareness, with being in life content with things as they are. Spiritual friendship is so good. It's so helpful, not that you all have to come live in a monastery, but reading Dhamma talks, meditating, and reminding oneself when we eat, we chant first. When we get up from a shrine, we bow. So when I see a nun, I'm right away seeing the mirror. I'm seeing myself in the mirror. Am I being mindful? So the company that we keep and focusing on what is the weather in the mind. Whenever you can make an adhitthana, a resolve, like one of the early things I learned in the monastery was, whenever I go through a door, I make a determination I'm going to mindfully open it or mindfully close it. Because there are a lot of doors in life. And then you can bring it to your feet or any activity that you return to frequently. If you have a habit of putting your glasses on and off, you make an adhitthana, a resolve. Whenever I take off my glasses or clean them or put them back on, am I aware? Am I present? What's the weather in the mind? What do I want? What am I letting go of? Another important thing is renunciation. Not popular. But when we do have strong desire, even the desire for somebody to be nice to us or treat us well, that's a desire. So then you can create a whole editorial around what other people are doing, but we're not noticing what our mind is doing. We're caught up in a story, and it's a reaction to the present moment. So if we can notice what is coming from these senses, rather than seeing what other people are doing and getting caught up and lost in it. So those are moments of mindfulness. Yes, mindful, good. Notice and forgive. Forgive the moments when we lose mindfulness. Because the ego will get in the way and drag us out of present moment awareness. Mindfulness has many levels. So be aware of what we're doing in there that's making the mind think more and more and get caught up in its thinking and then be lost. So forgive that being lost and come back to being present. So if we're caught up in the convention, there's many adjectives to use, but there are no adjectives for awareness because it's free. It's awake. It's just presence. All these things of the world matter not in the face of this conscious presence. So the Buddha gave us this tool of mindfulness to help us settle down in the present moment. And if we could just graze in the field of mindfulness more and more when we're eating, when we're watching, when we're waiting for a bus, or for the kettle to boil, or for an elevator to reach our floor, or waiting for a phone call. So many things we wait for. And so we have to be very alert and aware about our environment and to find ways to be safe in it. So mindfulness in the present moment is that kind of safety. You can never really avoid the greed, hatred, and delusion in the world. It's just going to come. We have it within us too, in more wholesome or less unwholesome ways. But for the mindfulness to take root, there has to be awareness. It's ever on. It's ever in active mode. That we're constantly referring back to where is my attention? What am I seeing? These eyes, ears, nose, tongue, thinking, mind, awareness, mind, which allows us to be in the present moment, but we're not watching the gate of attention, the gate of the mouth. What are we putting into the mouth? What are we putting into the ears, into our field of attention, moment by moment? And are we really present for it? So present moment awareness develops by bringing attention to what the five sense doors are engaged in. That's how we develop it. We develop it so that we can gain a kind of peace that cannot be found in eating, drinking, fulfilling our wanting at the five sense doors. And the mind, the mind is always looking for something through thinking. Or we're caught up in thinking, past and future. We want to know what the weather's going to be, for a good reason. But at least to be aware of that looking, of that wanting, and to get used to paying attention not to the objects in the world, but to the process of connecting to those objects. What is the state of our seeing? What is the quality of our attention? And also, are we engaging with the objects of the senses in a wholesome way, a middle way, not too much? Beautiful sights, we can get so caught up in watching the deer that we're not paying attention to what we're doing. If we're eating a meal, let go looking at the beautiful creatures. Oh, there's another chipmunk. Let's go feed the little chippy. No, pay attention to the food that we're eating. Paying attention is bringing ourselves into the present moment more and more, and then noticing what that does to fill up the heart. The belly gets full pretty fast. We don't have to overdo the belly. I think that I keep looking at the deer because now there's more. It's very distracting, right? There's a little baby there with polka dots. The world is so attractive. But just to notice when we get distracted, just to be aware of that, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with looking at the deer. But to know that we got distracted and come back to being with what we're with here and now. We're with each other. How does it feel? Sitting, standing, walking, eating, all of these activities are opportunities for us to be mindful, to be aware, to pay attention. Just like I notice when I stand in the market, not only do I notice other people walking without mindfulness, but I notice their body posture. And when I see someone slouching, I right away remember Ayya telling me not to slouch. So I stand, I realize I've been slouching. And then I laugh because I'm so busy watching everyone else that I'm not paying attention to my own posture. So where does mindfulness begin? Right here. It's like looking in the mirror. Try not to look at other people with a judging mind, but look here. We can be more mindful, aware. There we go, we're present. And then we get distracted with the objects in the world. So the Buddha tells us that the world is full of suffering, but it's also full of waking up. It's our opportunity, our field of opportunity for waking up. Even the suffering in the world, having compassion for all the beings in the market who don't practice present moment awareness. How many people learn about this present moment awareness and realize the happiness that comes from it? So when we practice awareness of the present moment in our meditation, to be careful not to be wanting something in the future when we're sitting, not to be hungry for some special mind state, but just to see how the mind is dwelling in this present moment. It's like fuel for awareness. It's fuel for totally being with the mind and body exactly as it is, and nothing is missing. The moment that we're aware, and we know that we're aware, the world just falls away, because awareness by itself is so fulfilling. It's the best meal that we could have, because it creates a wholeness, a fullness, a gentleness, a humility, a gratitude for this presence, for breath, for knowing that there is a path of wholeness and wakefulness which we can develop little by little. And when we practice, we're not practicing for the future, but we're practicing to heal our attention in this moment. So mindfulness is its own medicine. It is the medicine we need. We don't have to go to a doctor to heal our discomfort with life. Right here in this present moment is the medicine that will heal us. And it's interesting that the word meditation and the word medicine share a common root. This is a medical experience. Right here and now, we can be well and happy with whatever we have or whatever we don't have. There's nothing that we need to get. If we practice this level of contentment, and mindfulness brings us to that, it brings us to our knees. It's a bow. It's paying reverence to the present moment. We become the disciples of the present moment. Everything we need to learn is here and now. So that's the reason we practice awareness. To bring our minds to pay attention to how we stand, how we see, how we look, and remove the judging mind. To be aware, yes, without judgment, that to see people are not well. What is my condition here? In my looking, can I see these beings with the eyes of compassion and not judgment? That the world is suffering a disease of greed, hatred, and delusion, not realizing the very disease that we're feeding on moment by moment. And our lack of attention to our activity is where it begins. If people realized what the results of this pattern of gratifying the senses actually are, then maybe there would be less involvement with it. But we're not trained. Mostly we don't know. And when we start to know, we need to know better and more the good result from practicing this presence, this consciousness here and now. And when we practice together, we gain strength from each other, because the world doesn't give you an advertisement. Are you being mindful as you're driving? No, you're reading a sign with an advertisement to get something or to escape to some destination. But there is no escape. The only escape from the world is in the heart that is present, aware, and full of good qualities, wholesome qualities like gratitude, loving kindness, compassion, generosity, virtue. The virtue that helps us to connect to each other in wholesome ways. That's why we live in a field of virtue here, and we graze in it. And in this kind of field of virtue, mindfulness grows. Moment by moment, the moments of kindness, we're trying to develop them. The moments of forgiveness, we're trying to cultivate that. You know, when you have a garden, you grow flowers. Well, in the Dhammapada, you'll see this verse. The flower of virtue, the perfume of virtue, pervades in all directions. It's such a gift. So this is a poem that I wrote, reflecting on being a beggar. Because to be a beggar is not a popular profession. But as nuns, we are beggars. We're all beggars in the present moment. I live as a beggar in the beauty of virtue. A clear mind, not withering with fear or hate. Defeating darkness and delusion, I guard the jewels of my heart. The jewels in the world are shiny, but when we're sick, what will your cell phone do for you? Who's going to comfort? Who's going to bless? Who's going to hold your hand and say, don't be scared? So this is an intention, it's a wish. There's so much compassion in this world. And I wish for all of us that we could guard the jewels of our heart.